increasing. But while we wait for a few more people, a good number of other people to join us, we are going to start with a video, and then I'm going to do the welcome after that. Randy, if you could please play the video. It also forms part of welcome and emphasizing the good work done by child and youth care workers around the country. The sound, please.
Instead of giving me bread, you gave roti. She don't understand, you see.
Dear, wonderful, wonderful ladies, mothers, sisters, I am quite amazed, and I think most people would be quite amazed to watch and see the extraordinary things that you are doing, that you should provide this care so gently, so compassionately. It's just amazing. I've often said to people that when God looks at our world and sees the horrible things that we do to each other, God weeps. And then God sees you bringing the care that you bring, sees those of you who go to homes where the parents have been taken by HIV/AIDS, and it is only orphans in the home, and you go and you look after them, almost as if they were your own children, preparing them for going to school, giving them food, making sure that they have washed, making sure that they have had something to eat, making sure that they have books. It's wonderful. And when God sees that, then God begins to smile, like when the rain falls and the sun begins to shine at the same time. And I say, you can almost see a small little angel going to wipe the tears from God's eyes. You are doing such a wonderful work. In the Bible, Jesus says something very strange. He told the story of the Last Judgment. What he says will be the way we are going to be judged. It's not whether we were praying, whether we went to church, but did you or did you not give water to the thirsty? Did you or did you not give food to the hungry? Did you or did you not give clothes to the naked? He then says, inasmuch as you have done it to the least of these, you have done it to me. So, my dear mothers, my dear sisters, my dear children, the world might not think so, but when you go into those homes to help as you do so wonderfully, you know, if we had the right kind of eyes, we would see that we were doing it for Jesus. So when you are feeding that orphan, when you are clothing that orphan, you are actually washing, feeding, visiting Jesus. I just want to say a very big thank you to all of you in this extraordinary project of care. To say thank you on behalf of very, very many, but also on behalf of God, and pray that God will bless you, because it is something that touches the heart of God.
Thank you very much, Randy. We are now going to be starting. I still see that people are still joining, but we will proceed in the interest of time. I think we have lost some 5 minutes or so already this morning, and we would like to try and make sure that we finish well on time. Welcome to the third day of the International Child and Youth Care Workers Celebration. We have had some very good 2 days, and I'm getting messages from people that they have enjoyed these past 3 days, but past 2 days. My name is Donald Ngonyama from NACCW, and I will be chairing the session this morning. I hope that I will be able to work within the time that has been allocated for today. And I must say that in the past 2 days, we went beyond time, and that is because there are some things that we can't just cut out. Before I proceed, I want to commend the late Archbishop Tutu and the video that we have just seen. And somebody yesterday mentioned something that reminded us of the video. And we thought, that was a very good thing. And we could not, please make sure that you are muted. We could not ignore that. It reminded us of this video, and it's a beautiful video, a video that talks to us, talks to our hearts, and it encourages us to continue doing the work that we are doing with vulnerable and at-risk children under difficult circumstances. And as we have our third day of celebration, I want to also indicate that there are provincial celebrations that are happening, done by the child and youth care workers, and including the other social service professionals. We are grateful of that. Celebrations can be done in the midst of challenges, because that is the way we rejuvenate ourselves, reactivate ourselves, re-energize ourselves, so that we are able to move forward. We do need some energy. We do need to also see the positive that has happened in the past 50 years. And as I also want to say that we are doing this celebration this year, also celebrating the 50 years of child and youth care work in South Africa. And in the past 2 days, we have heard how the development of the child and youth care work since the mid-70s has happened, and more so in the past 40 years. Some people have been sending messages on chat box. Thank you very much for all those messages, questions, comments, encouragement. We invite you to continue doing the same today. What we will do is that at the end of these sessions, we are going to collate the messages, and those messages that are about the Department of Social Development or council or service providers, other service providers, HWSETA, NACCW, we will direct those messages to the different stakeholders so that they can be informed of what issues are coming from the sector. Not that we do not know some of them, but it's important that we raise them coming from an event like this. I want to also stress that it's necessary for celebrations to be done. I said this in the beginning, but I want to stress that because we all know that we are doing these celebrations in the midst of challenges. And let us not lose hope. The development of a profession, it's not something that happens within 1 decade. It is a process that takes decades and it can take generations. When you look at other professions and try to understand how they have evolved, you will realize that there was a lot of work that was put in and it was a long process. And what I also find is that even with the well-established professions now, when you speak to them, they still have challenges. So I do not think that we'll get to a point where we do not have challenges, but we do want to get child and youth care work profession to a level where we are confident that we can enjoy the fruits that comes from this profession. We can contribute to the development of children and youth and families in our country, and we can contribute to the improvement of South Africa. We want to see ourselves getting to that level. And of course, now when you look at the past decades, you can see the amount of work that has been done. And so let's continue in that rate. We have got we've got guests who will be speaking to us this morning. And some of you will have received the programs, but if you have not received the programs, you can expect that we will have Dr. Zeni Thumbadoo, who is going to be speaking on the background of the internship partnership with HWSETA. We will have a keynote presenter in Miss Elaine Brass, CEO of HWSETA. And I want to welcome you, ma'am, for making the time to join, to be with us, to celebrate the International Child and Youth Care Workers with us. And then we will have a panel of child and youth care interns from different settings. Tandimorin Masanaho from Isibindi Ezikoleni, Sam Mutaung from a community-based child and youth care work, as in Ikusasa Letu, in Freedom Park in Johannesburg. We will have Mr. Samukelo Dladla, who is involved with the Youth Forum, NACCW Youth Forums, and then we've got Miss Gugunu Malo, Isibindi Ezikoleni, KZN. So those will be the people speaking from the child and youth care work interns, representing the interns who are in the child and youth care sector. As you can see, they are from around the country. And then we'll have Mr. Likho Bottoman, Director from Social Cohesion and Equity in Education from the Department of Education. And Mr. Bottoman is very key to the development of child and youth care work in the education sector. And we appreciate the opportunity and the good work that is done to contribute in the development of that setting. And Mr. Bottoman continues to play a very, very important role. So, colleagues, you are all welcome. I hope that this is going to be another day that you will feel that you have learned and gained something from the session. In the past 2 days, we have had about 120 connections. We are expecting that we'll be around that number again today. Our translation of 120 connections comes to something around 250 and 400 people who are connected, because we have many people who are connecting in what we call watch parties. I am now going to call upon Dr. Thumbadoo to do the background on internship partnership with HWSETA. Dr. Thumbadoo.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Randy, for the presentation. My presentation is going to be on the partnership between the NACCW and Health and Welfare SETA, our Child and Youth Care Internship collaboration, which started in 2023 and will conclude in 2026. And this is just an update and a sharing, an overview to share with the field. The opportunity has been created for a grant agreement was signed in November 2023 with initial implementation commencing immediately. We have had challenges in securing the co-funding, which might have delayed the full implementation of the program within the time frame. And for that reason, the grant agreement was extended to 2026. So just to say that we've been offered an opportunity to place 200 child and youth care workers with a minimum level 4. We have accepted people with level 5 as well, to be placed in internship positions, earning a stipend of 4,000 rands. Obviously, it means that if there were donor funding that could top this up, that was completely acceptable to the Health and Welfare SETA. In addition, we have been given the opportunity to have 10 child and youth care workers at level 6, 7 diploma degree people who could be placed in supervisory positions, earning stipends of 6,000 as well. And again, the opportunity to top up this was part of the arrangement. Our next slide will tell us that we've actually had 207 childcare workers that were recruited. 7 did drop out, and we have 200 in place. We just want to say that the Health and Welfare SETA supports the movement of childcare workers out, particularly if they find permanent employment. And we are happy to say that 2 of these workers found permanent employment, one with eThekwini municipality, the other with the police force in the Northern Cape, in KZN and in the Northern Cape. Just to say that while we are happy that our interns, these 2, have found permanent jobs, we're not too happy that we are having people leave the field. We would like to keep child and youth care workers with this kind of experience in the sector. 5 left citing minimum stipend and personal reasons for leaving. And with our 10 childcare workers at supervisory level, we've had no dropout. All 10 are still in place. That's our current status. I thought that the slide will just help you see a geographic spread. We're in the Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, and Northwest. What's important to note is that we've got our largest number in KwaZulu-Natal. I just want to say that in KwaZulu-Natal, we have a memorandum of understanding with both the Department of Health and the Department of Education, which strengthens the deployment of child and youth care workers in these sectors. Gauteng as well, with the Matthew Goniwe a program and partnership with the Department of Education. We have large numbers of interns placed there. But I think what's most interesting for me is the Northern Cape that's coming out strong in the 3rd place. This is because the Department of Social Development has actually funded the deployment of child and youth care workers in Isibindi, Isikoleni in schools, and we're excited to partner with this internship. So that just gives you the picture of our geographic coverage. Our next slide. Our next slide will just tell us a little bit about where we've placed people in the different provinces, because this is interesting. We are trying to see how different settings can contribute to the strengthening of the internship opportunities. So we have in childcare work interns placed in CBOs at community level, with Childline, with child and youth care centers, of course in the NACCW, and at universities too. Our next slide will tell us just a little bit more detail about the NACCW placement. The large number, close to 70%, are placed in Izibindi, Izikuleni, and I'll share a little bit more in a further slide. A large number also placed in the program that actually responds to OVCs, the Izibindi Impilo, as we originally called it, which is health-based child and youth care work. When we talk about interns that are being placed in all programs, what we basically mean here is that they straddle different programs, providing administrative and project management support to strengthen that area of development in the child and youth care sector. And we are very excited that we are placing interns in our youth forums as well. This is an estimate. But if each of these 217 childcare workers were to work with just 50 children in the time they service children, then over 10,000 children are reached by child and youth care interns, which we believe is a tremendous impact. We need to actually start being more rigorous in collecting the actual figures, which we will be doing, but this just gives you an estimate. And I think that the contribution to services to children in these different settings is quite impressive. Next slide. So for the period of the grant, the following amounts will have been brought into the child and youth care field in the form of stipends. The funding provided by Health and Welfare SETA covers also administrative and management. But this is just, I wanted to show the slide just to say that 10,395,000 comes directly to childcare workers in the form of stipends. And in addition, for the degreed students, 756,000 directly towards stipends. And these stipends are provided, and the recruitment processes make sure that everybody who's recruited are regulated. That means they're registered with council. That means they're clearly qualified. And they have to be qualified childcare workers, not students or learners. And these child and youth care workers then are unemployed. So these are people that are resources in the field that are not being utilized by the different departments and different NGO organizations and are unemployed. And we have brought them into the field back again to service, giving them the opportunity of internship. The next slide is my 2 or 3 slides of conclusion, because what I want to say here is that significant funding has been brought through this partnership, as you can see, directly into the child and youth care sector, with 217 unemployed childcare workers receiving internship opportunities. There has been opportunity to top up these stipends with donor funding, offering a better salary to childcare worker that is dignified and respectful wherever that has been possible. In some cases, it has not been possible, so childcare workers who have been unemployed are just getting the 4,000 as their stipend. I also want to say that very strategically, the NACCW has selected placement sectors to expand the work experience and opportunities for child and youth care practice. So in our partnership with Childline, child and youth care workers are getting the opportunity in child protection, and child protection services in their helpline, which means on those helpline calls when children call in, and basically specializing in child protection. And we're very excited about this opportunity. Yesterday, you heard about the intermediary work that we're doing. And this actually contributes to people's experience that will help them being considered by positions in the Department of Justice and in the sexual offences courts. Just to say that recent research, I mean, has indicated that it's more likely that children will disclose abuse to a childcare worker than any other social service profession. That's the first call for disclosure, which means that this is an important area for us to develop in. Just to say that in terms of research and academic administration, the work with DUT is bringing opportunity for young degreed child and youth care workers to start preparing for academic careers. And that's important with the fact that we're wanting to professionalize, and we want other universities to start considering child and youth care worker and will need future researchers, lecturers, and other academic support. With NACCW, like I said before, project management and childcare administration has been given opportunities. This is also leadership, because managing a project and becoming a project manager is a leadership position, and we're trying to create those skills in these childcare workers so that they can actually apply for those kinds of opportunities. As well as we know that supervision opportunities for degreed child and youth care workers is becoming critical in the field, and we're giving intern opportunities for those positions and those skills and capacities to be developed. Residential childcare, we've heard wonderful presentations yesterday by our panel, and we have placed child and youth care workers in childcare centres, benefiting from the expertise of people like Mandy Goebel and others. In the prevention and early intervention programs, which is our community and family programs, the Safe Parks, the Old Easy Bindies, the Rishia programs, those kinds of programs, we're also placing interns in to continue to learn about our work at that level. The youth forums with the youth work program, just to say that the BEIP that Asanda presented yesterday, we almost placed interns with them, but unfortunately the time frames didn't work out, and they're very open to be taking child and youth care interns into that youth mentorship program. And of course, the school-based Izibindi Izikoleni program, which is our strategic pilot. The next slide, Randy. Yes. Just to talk a little bit about Izibindi Izikoleni, the placement of childcare worker interns in Izibindi Izikoleni, which is a school-based child and youth care practice, has strengthened this innovative model and has demonstrated the significant role of childcare workers in educational settings. There is now evidence of childcare practice in schools through research that has been done, documentation, and standard operating procedures that have integrated child and youth care practice with educational policies and priorities. The strategy for the deployment of social service professions in different government settings, including the education setting, which is led by DSD and DBE, holds promise for the future sustainability of the deployment of child and youth care workers in DBE. The NACCW is represented on the task team spearheading this initiative. And with the last slide, what can the next slide, Randy. What can we say but to offer our very, very sincere appreciation to the Health and Welfare HWSETA for this internship opportunity. And I think a special accolade and appreciation to the CEO, Ms. Elaine Brass, for her continued interest in child and youth care and the development of the child and youth care field, and being present today to acknowledge the work that we've done. I think the child and youth care sector has benefited broadly through this partnership, and our appeal is for continued internship opportunities to strengthen and expand the services of childcare workers into new settings with different partners, and especially a strategic partnership is necessary with DBE in their future planning for the deployment of childcare workers in schools. Thank you very much. Health and Welfare HWSETA and DBE who are here today. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zeni. And I just realized just after you have started that I skipped your introduction. But I will just say a few things about you and the work that you have been doing at the NACCW and the country. That for those people who do not know Zeni, she is a deputy director at NACCW since 1997 and has done some great work in the child and youth care sector. She has got experience in direct service provision, contributing to children's policy and legislation, advocacy and model development. So the Isibindi Ezikoleni and the Isibindi program and other models that we have at NACCW, Zeni has played a critical role in the establishment of those models. And many of you know about the Isibindi program, which we rolled it out in 2013 in partnership with the Department of Social Development, which has now been rebranded RESIA. So that is some of the amazing work that Zeni has done. And now we've got the Isibindi Ezikoleni, which we are in partnership with the Department of Education. Zeni has led that as well. So, and some of you will know her as a former chairperson of the Professional Board for Child and Youth Care Work. So we are talking of Zeni is a person who knows what she is doing, and we are grateful for your contributions. And thank you so much. And thank you very much for this presentation that you have shared with us. And I am not sure if in the interest of time, if you've got any question, please write your question on the chat box or write your question down so that when we get to discussion, you can ask your question. I am now going to introduce the keynote speaker, Miss Elaine Brass. Miss Elaine Brass is a chartered accountant of South Africa for over 20 years after completing her articles at Deloitte. After articles, she remained on as an assurance audit manager for 2 years until joining the Auditor General of South Africa in 2003 in March. Ms. Elaine's passion for the public sector then flourished at the Auditor General over a period of 4 years as a manager, and she later continued as senior manager until she joined HWSETA in 2007. Ms. Brass was with the HWSETA as Chief Financial Officer for 11 years. During this time, she also acted as the Chief Executive Officer for 3 years. She was later appointed Chief Executive Officer in 2019, and then again in October 2020 for a period of another 5 years until March 2025, and she is continuing as we have amongst us today. Over this period, she has attained successful audits as well as steady performance, and we have had direct interaction with Ms. Elaine Brass, and we know that she is committed to the work that she is doing. She has established networks and has a deep insight into the sectors of health and social development, and that actually speaks for itself. Her leadership and people skills have ensured a good reputation for HWSETA with excellent performance. And when you look at the role that HWSETA is playing in the social service sector, it is very evident that we've got a capable leader in that institution. She is somebody who is passionate about skills development and making a difference to the people of our country. Elaine has also served as secretary to the Association of SETA CEOs in the last 5 years, which is quite a commendable role for somebody. So, Ms. Brass, we would like to welcome you to speak to the child and youth care sector. Thank you very much.
No. Thank you so much, Program Director, Mr. Donald Ngoyama. And I just want to also greet a few people here today. First of all, just to say it is an absolute pleasure, and I am privileged to be able to come through today to share a couple of things that I have for you, and especially on this occasion of many celebrations. So first of all, I would just like to acknowledge Mr. Edwin Gallant, the NACCW chairperson, the deputy chairperson of NACCW, Ms. Fiona Balgo-Bind. Then we have Dr. Mil Alsop. I've known her for many years. She is the director of NACCW. And then deputy directors, Mr. Donald Ngoyama, as well as Dr. Zeni Thumbadoo. And I have had really such an amazing relationship with the NACCW, and I'd like to congratulate the NACCW on celebrating 50 years of child and youth care work in South Africa, and you really have made us proud. You have done an absolutely sterling job, and I just wish you the best for at least another 50 years in South Africa. I also want to greet a few other people in the room or who has been in the conference over the last 3 days. I would like to greet the SAC SSP. I believe the president was with us. Mr. Sekitla, who is a registrar of the SAC SSP. And then, of course, we have the department, the National Department of Social Development, the Department of Social Development, and one of our other partners, the Department of Basic Education. And then finally, to greet the youth that are here in the room today, the community, as well as our interns. I really can't wait to hear from our interns. So I would like to now share my presentation. It's not a keynote address with just a lot of words. I actually want to show you some real things that have been done in the sector of child and youth care. And I hope that is visible. And I must just get myself to move these slides. There we go. So first of all, once again, congratulations on your 50th anniversary in NACCW. And also we are here to celebrate Child and Youth Care Week, and with the theme Global Belonging in Child and Youth Care. And this is the week of May of 2025. Just to say from the HWSETA, if you don't know us, we of course have been in the sectors of health, social development and veterinary science for quite a while now. We do have a vision and mission and values, but we also want to say, and this is important today, that we create or our mandate is to ensure that we have an integrated approach to the development and provision of adequately skilled health and social development workers in South Africa for the betterment of all. Our philosophy is to espouse the philosophy of a better life for all through people development. And from what I have heard just this morning alone, we are definitely doing that together. This is our sector. So HWSETA not only looks after social development sector, we also have health and animal health. And if you see on the far right of the screen, there we also support governments, provincial departments, government agencies, non-governmental sector, non-profit organizations, and private social work practices, as well as the corporate sector. We do have sector change drivers, and this is what then drives how we look at our funding. We do know as an HWSETA specifically, and not only to us, is there is a great demand for social and health services. And here today we're concentrating on social services. And what is feeding into that? One, there is a high burden of disease, as we know. Also, challenging social economic realities. And that is also why we have our social sector and child and youth care workers. And then, of course, there is also changes to the scope of practice of professionals, which includes those in the social sector. And we also know, unfortunately, there are high levels of interpersonal violence. And this all comes together where we actually have this great demand for our social services. We also live in a world today where we have in South Africa a very high unemployment rate of almost 33%, and it is projected to remain 33% in this financial year. Then we also know that if we look at the expanded unemployment rate, we are looking at last year about 41%, and the projection is a bit lower this year to about 34%. And unfortunately, 59% of our youth ages 15 to 24 remain unemployed. We also have a growth rate of a low 1.6% that is projected in this year. So the fiscus is under strain, we know that, and that is why we have some of the challenges in child and youth care. And of course, our country then also has to look at various significant borrowings over the next 3 years. And we also know that 1 in 5 people in South Africa are in extreme poverty. About 55% of the South African population lives below the national upper bound poverty line. We know also the challenges, and of course there are great opportunities, but we also have to ensure that we understand the challenges and we move off from those. We do know that there is high unemployment still in child and youth care in our country. We do know that we are also looking at professionalism in this field, and also we battle sometimes with the recognition of the importance of child and youth care. And I am extremely passionate about child and youth care in our country because there is a need for it. It is so critical. And as has been indicated, it is so much easier for our youth to open up to someone who is a youth and who understands youth in particular. And this, of course, will strengthen. And then, of course, fair remuneration. I know, Dr. Zeni, when you were presenting, I know it's a very difficult time when you have to say stipends of only 4,000 Rand, stipends of 6,000 Rand. And I know that you are fighting for fair remuneration in the sector, because of course the remuneration currently does not reflect the value that child and youth care bring to our economy. So as I have mentioned, and we all are on the same page, there is a need for child and youth care. It is a unique profession in our country. And of course, through unity, collaboration, support and partnerships, we can actually make these challenges far less in the future. I thought I'll just share some of our track and trace studies as the HWSETA. There's quite a few things that we do. So not only offering funding, entering into partnerships, as has been identified by Dr. Zeni this morning, which is a great partnership that we have fostered with the NSCCW over the years. We also do research. And also part of our research is also to actually track and trace the programs that we have funded and have the learners that have gone through these programs obtained employment and how are they doing. In other words, have our programs actually been success and have they had an impact? So you can have a look at that graph. you'll actually see prior to COVID-19, we were really doing exceptionally well with employment rate for our learners on our programs. And this, of course, extends to all the programs of the HWSETA, not only our social programs. It started taking a dip after COVID-19, reached quite low levels in 22 and 23. And the good news is it's starting to climb again. I just wanted to also show you this. In terms of our employment rate per program, we have great success in the postgraduate bursary program, where these learners are more easily able to find employment, as well as our undergraduate bursary programs. And there's our internship program and our learnership program. So all of these programs do have successes. Of course, we want to see these figures a lot higher. We also do research, as I've indicated. So our approach is also to update annually our sector skills plan through various mechanisms, including labour market surveys. And this is to gather and analyse data about the supply and demand of workers in specific areas, industries or occupations within the HWSETA sectors. It's also to provide insights into the current and future trends, challenges and opportunities within the labour market. And this information is crucial to ensure that we have informed decision-making in areas such as hiring, training, policy development, and also as the HWSETA where to put our funding. So with regards to some of the surveys that we have conducted and the research that we have conducted over the period, this particular page only speaks to 2022. We are currently updating this now, but very interesting indeed. So first of all, the first table speaks to the output of qualifications for auxiliary child and youth care workers, quality assured by the HWSETA over the period. Unfortunately, I'd love to have gone back 50 years. HWSETA has only been around for roughly about 24 years. So here we see that the child and youth care occupational qualification quality assured by the HWSETA had a negative annual average growth of -13 over the period. This may be due to changes in education framework for the occupational qualifications, which are pretty new and have come into being just over the last couple of years. However, there is some good news. If you have a look at the second table, which is number of persons registered with the SAC SSP, then you'll see between 2016 and 2023, the data indicates that the annual average growth rate for student, child and youth care workers was 57.8%. That is fantastic. And then student, auxiliary, child and youth care workers was 55%. So these are absolutely positive trends in terms of supplying human resources for the delivery of much needed social services in South Africa, especially with the national focus on children. And then the registration of child and youth care workers in the same period, over a 7-year period, was a growth of 9.2%. However, when zooming into the latter 4 years, which is 2020 to 2023, the annual growth rate was only 1.4%, but it was still a growth rate. So currently we are looking at a survey on the supply and demand of child and youth care workers that we are currently busy with. This survey will incorporate a research question and will explore factors explaining this decline in particular. Then I would like to show you our child and youth care work as an occupation in high demand. This is one aspect of the HWSETA research, is to identify occupations in high demand, also hard to fill vacancies. That's at HTFV. So we have found that heartful vacancies, the occupations within our strategic period up until 2024, shows that child and youth care work as an occupation, as a hard to fill occupation. It is rated the 11th occupation on the top 20 hard to fill vacancy list for our sector, and is rated as the first occupation on the hard to fill vacancy list for the social development sector alone. So you'll have a look on the far right, which is our hard to fill vacancy list, and you'll see number 11 as child and youth care workers. So over the 5-year period to 2025, child and youth care work has had the highest demand, accounting for 41% of all hard to fill vacancies in the social development sector in the same period. So there's absolutely no doubt as to how important, how critical, and that the need exists for child and youth care workers in our country today. 2 major reasons given for hard to fill vacancies through our research was the scarcity of people with the required qualification and people with the required experience. So this is where we also come in as an HWSETA. We support the qualification and we support the experience, either through work integrated experience or through internships, as Dr. Zeni has indicated in her presentation. Employee interviews conducted in the 24-25 year also yielded a current demand from the Department of Basic Education for placing child and youth care workers. And this is quite obvious in the presentation by Dr. Zeni this morning. There are challenges. So expanding a bit on the challenges I've mentioned before, these are more in-depth challenges that we have identified as the HWSETA in our labour market survey and research. So we have found that government funding for job positions remains insufficient. Many qualified auxiliary child and youth care workers are still working for stipends, and some will leave as soon as another work opportunity arises. And Dr. Zeni has made this known today as well. Then anecdotal evidence suggests that up to 50% of qualified auxiliary child and youth care workers could currently be unemployed. This is the reality. And this is mainly due to the cessation of funding support for the Isibindi model, as not all auxiliaries involved in the Isibindi were transferred to the Department of Social Development in their own program. Also, another challenge, employers struggle to find auxiliary child and youth care workers who are both qualified and registered with the SAC SSP. Some suggested that the SAC SSP introduces a database of unemployed auxiliary child and youth care workers, which can be made available to employers to fill vacancies. And then lastly, as the HWSETA, we have identified that currently DUT is the sole HEI providing the BCYC, the Bachelor of Child and Youth Care program, admitting 50 first-year students annually. So their resources are heavily strained, making it unfeasible to contemplate expanding the intake. 3 other universities are at different stages of deliberation and planning to also introduce this bachelor's degree program. However, the earliest possibility for a first intake of one of these universities is only projected in a few years' time. We have also noted that the phase out of the level 4 qualification, which was scheduled to conclude in July last year, raised several concerns. So 1, there is a shortage of child and youth care workers with bachelor's degrees available to train for the NQ level 5 qualification, which is the occupationally developed qualification. Then we have found that a significant proportion of NQF level 5 students failed the ESA examinations, prompting a need for comprehensive investigation into the underlying reasons as to why this was. And then the transition to NQF level 5 exclusively may exclude a group of community members working informally as child and youth care workers who already demonstrate a passion for the work and are less likely than the youth to seek employment in another field. Another piece of information that I would like to share with you today is the HWSETA also supports RPL. And I think this is quite important, especially in child and youth care. And I would like to indicate that over the year, 305 learners completed an RPL with the HWSETA. But if I zoom in specifically on child and youth care, here it is. So over the period as well, we had 363 candidates enrolled in the RPL program. Most were from Gauteng and then also from Mpumalanga. We had some dropouts, not too much. 348 candidates were RPL'd and assessed for the FETC Child and Youth Care Work qualification. 305, which is 88% of the candidates, were deemed competent and therefore reported as having completed the recognition process. So we had also, as our final success, 99% of candidates of this process received a full qualification in child and youth care work through the RPL process. And the HWSETA continues to support this program. So that's really another great success story and an opportunity. We do have some recommendations for the development of the child and youth care work occupations. One is we do need to look at the root cause analysis of the high failure rates in the essay examination. So we will look at this and then determine strategies for systems to strengthen this particular area to actually get more and more child and youth care that are qualified on the level 5 qualification. Then also we will consider funding or partially funding the development of online training platforms for child and youth care worker program at higher education level. The HWSETA will also consider providing bursaries, as we have done in the past, for postgraduate child and youth care worker students to ensure sufficient supply of lecturers and specialists in the field. And then we will also consider providing support to the pilot articulation model program of the DUT, articulation of the NQF level 5 child and youth care workers into the degree program. We want you there. Interns, we want you there. In terms of our funding, just a little bit more around that, I wanted to show you that last year, if you have a look at that graph in the middle, is we have funded child and youth care work at the FETC level. We have also funded sorry, it was just that. I was actually going on to ECD. So there you have it, that in terms of our funding, definitely child and youth care is right up there in our priority list of funding. I wanted to also indicate that I also mentioned at our AGM last year how we really appreciate the partnership with the NACCW, and we have also through this partnership, we have funded the program called the Isibindi Isikuleni, where child and youth care workers were placed in schools to, amongst other things, addressed gender-based violence and bullying in schools. That's why we are so passionate about this pilot program. And we have seen great successes, and we have also seen great impacts in particular with regards to this. So we are absolutely humbled with our partnership with the NACCW and the Department of Education to be able to do this. The political will and intent is strong to ensure that these types of projects gain a permanent place in our schools, for example. And we do believe that, or I do believe through my interaction with the NACCW, that an interministerial task team has been set up as well. So with regards to the funding that we have offered over just the last 2 years to the NACCW in particular, related to work integrated learning, internships, and the second and third one was the ones that were indicated by Dr. Zeni. And then we have also supported bursaries for the postgraduate diploma, specifically with the NACCW. And there are some of the figures. Then if we have a look at the HWSETA in total, over the 22, 23, 23, 24, and 24, 25 year, all going into the sector of child and youth care, either through learnerships, skills programs, internships, work integrated learning. We have put in 66 million rand into the sector. So this will then complement what the sector has also done for child and youth care. So what a celebration, definitely, for child and youth care in the week of child and youth care. So although the 25-26 allocations for our funding has not yet been finalized, the HWSETA has, of course, prioritized child and youth care as one of its priority areas to fund, and much effort will be made towards the funding of learners on the postgraduate diplomas, the masters, and also the doctorates. We do need those as well. So once again, in this financial year, which is 25-26, we will fund learnerships, we will fund bursaries for employed and unemployed, we will fund internships, and we will fund skills programs, all in child and youth care. The HWSETA is here to support the sector as it continues to strengthen and evolve. We know it is strengthening, we know it is evolving, regardless of the challenges. We acknowledge the tremendous need for child and youth care workers in South Africa. There are challenges, and yet in the midst, we have also seen such great opportunities and impact that we have had in the sector. So let's together remain positive, focused, driven, resilient, committed, and passionate about child and youth care. Thank you. Over to you, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brass. Sure, I think that this information that you have shared with us, it's leaving people feeling, excited, and the work that the HWSETA it's doing under your leadership for the child and youth care profession, it's highly, highly commendable. And I know that we will have the time for questions. And I'm looking at the time now. I think that we seem to be doing just okay with the time. And I think before we lose some of the important points that you have made, if we can just allow some 5 to 10 minutes of questions here. And before we move on to the panel of interns who are going to be speaking. So I'm going to just allow that, and I'll be quite firm in terms of the time. So please, we will only take a few questions, and it must be around 5 minutes or so. So I see a hand from Emilia. Emilia, please, if you can pose your question.
Hi, Donald. Thank you.
Please indicate who you are posing the question to between Dr. Thumbadoo and Ms. Brass?
It's for Elaine Brass, please. I just wanted to check, I see in the presentation you've said that there is, you have identified that there is a bit of a problem with the level 5 child and youth care worker qualification, and that many people are failing the exam. I see, I've got statistics from 2019, which from 2019, 396 students wrote the ESA exam for child and youth care worker, level 5. And out of those, only 8 people passed. So that's a huge problem for the childcare industry altogether, because that would mean from 2019 only 8 people in the country are qualified with a level 5 child and youth care worker qualification, and with SSC, SSP not accepting level 4 qualifications, what do these learners now do? So in essence, only 8 people should be registered with SAC, SSP to actually practice in the child and youth care field.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to take another question. I will request that you keep your questions brief, please. Mr. Harris, Alfred.
Good morning, Program Director. Thank you very much for the opportunity. This is also a follow-up on Ms. Hollander's question. In terms of the students that has passed from, they wait very long to obtain their final certificate in order for them to practice. And this has got a great influence on their employment status. As remember, when they register with council, that they have to provide their certificate. They can't no longer be registered with a job description and a letter of appointment. So what is the issue around with HWSETA in the delay of issuing the students with their final certificate? And then just an observation I want to make is that we seem to be using the word child and youth care work interchangeably, and in terms of legislation, we have 2 levels of registration, one on the auxiliary level and one on professional level. And I think it's important that we do make use of when we talk about child and youth care work, what we are talking about, whether we're talking about on the auxiliary level or whether we're talking on the professional level, so that there can be clarity around that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good.
Thank you so much, Chair. I'll be brief. Just to thank Ms. Brass, sorry, for the wonderful presentation and exciting information that she has shared, and the wonderful work that she has been doing in creating opportunities for internships. I just have one question, and I think it's around the internship program, which is done in partnership with NSCW. I think my question is it possible to extend the number of years in which people are in the internship program? Because looking at the requirements by employers that they need at least 3 years of experience for them to consider a candidate for employment. And we, under the internship program, only offer a year for the people that are in the internship program. So that was my question, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that question. Joyce?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Good morning, everyone. I just want to ask Zin regarding the internships, because in most cases they said they need it has age restriction, and then some of us it's challenging, because if you are around 40, which means you cannot have an internship.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that short question and straight to the point. And H. Ndlovu.
Good morning, and thank you, Program Director. Thank you for the opportunity. My question goes to Ms. Brass. I just want to thank you for the presentation and the support that HWSETA is providing to the sector. So my question is around bursaries for the postgrad and diploma level. I just want to check, what is the process of applying? Can it be individually, or it needs to be applied via the institution, which can be DUT or the employer?
Thank you very much for that question. And I will move to Pamela. Pamela, you'll be the last person to ask a question, and then we'll go to responses. Pamela?
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Is similar to Shoni. It was going to Ms. Brass. We are postgraduate students registered with DUT. When we were recruited, we were promised that the HWSETA will be funding our studies, only to find out later in the year that we have no funding. Just wanted to find out that are we going to be funded, or we must just make our own payments? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'm going to now request Ms. Brass and Dr. Thumbadoo to respond. And I'm sure you will have jotted down the questions. And if you could also please be direct and brief in your responses for each question. Thank you. Ms. Brass, if you are speaking.
No, thank you so much. You know, you did warn me to ensure I had a great connectivity, and I had a good one while I was presenting. Now it's a little bit up and down, so my apologies. I have noted the questions. Thank you so much for your, oh no, thank you so much for your appreciation of the presentation. Absolutely, we have noted a great concern with regards to the level 5 occupationally developed qualification and the ISA examinations for that qualification. We have actually looked into investigating as to why this is such, and the pass marks are extremely poor. So between ourselves and the QCTO, we are looking at solutions, either in terms of strengthening the training on the programs, to maybe looking at the curriculum, and to also maybe look at the examinations themselves. So we haven't yet finalized. But however, once we actually get down to the root cause of what some of the problems are, we certainly will start putting those solutions in place. But it has been there for a few years now, and it isn't really improving. But certainly we will ensure that we can get to the bottom of that, so that we can start producing the level 5 child and youth care. With regards to Mr. Harris's question around the delay in certificates, we do have a relationship between the HWSETA and the QCTO. In terms of the ISA examinations and the process to ensure those examinations have been written and verified and the marks checked and rechecked, and also the various quality processes that have undergone, it does sometimes take a while. It is not acceptable. I absolutely agree with you that certainly we actually need to get those certificates out a lot sooner. We have engaged with the QCTO to see how we can streamline the process. So once the final results are out, we can issue those certificates by the QCTO a lot quicker. So we have noted that. Mr. Kuhle, with regards to the internship program, we have also noted that with regards to good quality experience obtained in any field, including child and youth care, we do need an internship that is longer than 12 months. In some instances, we have extended programs to 18 months, but we are now looking at 24 months to ensure that we can actually give a person the experience that they will need to ensure that they are more employable. We haven't yet looked at a 3-year period, but it is definitely something that we are looking at and starting to implement extended periods of internships. It really does make sense. Then with regards to Mr. Ndlovu, applying for postgrad bursaries, and I saw there was a question on the chat group about masters. Absolutely, we would fund masters as well. You would either have to go through your employer or through the institution. So if you are going through your employer, make sure that they make inquiries with us to get funding for those areas. And then, of course, if you're going directly to the university, please be sure to ask about the HWSETA funding. If you are getting stuck anywhere, because we do know that funding of postgrad bursaries is very important to us, then please just drop us a mail, either to myself or to Luyanda Lokwe, and she can then see how we can fit you into the various institutions, of course, as long as funding is still available. And then with regards to Pamela, postgrad bursaries at DUT, I actually missed the last point of your question, Pamela. My sincere apologies. I know you indicated that there were students in and something around a promise that was made by the HWSETA. Please let me know what that promise was so I can follow up on that. Thank you. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those direct and brief responses. And Pamela, if you could please provide clarity. I think what you were saying is that HWSETA funding the studies for students at DUT was promised, but then you later discovered that there was no funding to support you, and you wanted to know whether that support is going to be provided or whether you should now look at funding your studies yourself. I think that was the question. Am I correct, Ms. Kumalo? Okay, yeah. I think, Ms. Brass, that was the question. That is how I understood it.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted clarity. It's DOT that promised that at HWSETA will fund us, but later we were informed that there is no funding. So this year we are doing our first year in the PGDIP. So we just wanted to know, are we going to be funded or there is no funding at all?
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Brass, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Ms. Kumalo, please can you send me an email so I can then follow up on that and then get back to you with regards to that funding, please. Thank you. I'll put my details in the chat box, Program Director. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. And Dr. Thumbadoo, there was one question for you. would you please respond to that?
Yes, if I can just basically say that we work according to criteria for the internships that are provided by the Health and Welfare SETA. So, one of the criteria is that people have to be unemployed, people have to be registered with council, and there is a focus on youth development. So once the criteria is broadened, obviously we would be able to extend the internship opportunities more broadly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I just want to very quickly do a few reflections on Ms. Brass' presentation. Points that we must take with us is that we are celebrating at this time and with the understanding that there is a great demand for social services and child and youth care being one of those. And we appreciate that. I think your presentation made that very clearly, and we appreciate the support, Ms. Brass. And also that child and youth care, it's highly rated in terms of demand within the HWSETA plans. And your presentation clearly showed that, which is highly appreciative. I think one other thing that people should also take into consideration is the RPL for the auxiliary child and youth care work. So there is that opportunity that you need to make use of if you need that RPL. And we also appreciate your commitment to partially or partially funding the development of online platform for child and youth care workers at higher institution. It's a point that has been spoken about over and over, because there are over 10,000 auxiliary child and youth care workers we have who want to study. All of them are, or majority of them are employed and cannot afford to be going to school full time. So an online degree will be very, very helpful for the sector. So we are very appreciative of that continued support. In the interest of time, I see there is one hand. Silence. If you can please be brief. I'll only take you. If there is anyone intending to raise a hand, please don't. I'll only take silence. You are lucky that I'm taking your silence.
Good morning, sir. Chair, I'll just want to make follow-up just because there was a question which was raised about the issues of NQF level 5 students who are not passing. I think that question was not answered. You were requesting that question be answered so that we can be clear what should be done if the students are not passing. Thank you, sir. And also please check on the comments. We've posted some questions so that they can be answered as well.
Okay, thank you very much. That is noted. I think the question was answered. Ms. Brass indicated that they are having discussions with QCTO, and they are also trying to understand the reasons why this failure rate is so high. And once that has been done, they will be able to come up with a plan to address those the cause of those challenges. So that was the answer. I am now going to move on to the next panel of speakers. We have Ms. Thandi Maureen Masanavu, Sam Motau, Samkelo Dladla, and Gugunu Malo. I will call upon now Thandi to speak. Thandi is one of, just to indicate that Thandi is a child and youth care worker, and she has worked at St. Anthony of Egypt in Isibindi, Siabuswa. And then she became a child and youth care worker in Isibindi at the Sibongi Mpumelelo Primary School. She has developed a strong relationship with children, parents, educators, and different stakeholders in the best interest of learners in the program Isibindi Ezikoleni. She is the duration of her internship actually came to an end, but she would like to share her experience and show her appreciation. Thandi?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Greetings to all. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Thandi Morin Masanabo from
Please
Mpumalanga
put your
Province.
video on, Thandi, if you can.
Hello.
Hello, Thandi, can you put your video on, please? If
Yes,
it's possible.
I did put my video.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is not so clear, but you may proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Greetings to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Thandi Morin Masanabo from Mpumalanga Province in Kangala District. I've been trained by NACCW as an auxiliary child and youth care worker and obtained certificate. I started working as a child and youth care worker in the Isibindi community. And in 2024, I worked at Sibongi Mpumelelo Primary School as an Isibindi Ezikolweni child and youth care worker. Where I was working, the school was enrolled 800 learners. I benefited from Health and Welfare SETA funded project where I was deployed in Isibindi Ezikolweni Mpumalanga. The name of Isibindi Ezikolweni is an interested name in Zulu, but in English means courage in school, where we have an opportunity to influence changes in the lives of the children or of the learners. I work with different needs of challenges to learners. I provided quality psychosocial support to all learners who were at risk of dropping school due to those virus challenges. The school-based assessment assisted me in identifying some of the challenges in the school. Some of the challenges were the high rate of bullying, as we know that each and every school has the rate of bullying, learners with learning difficulties, child protection, and learners with a history of repeating grades. I've provided Isibindi Ezikolweni services for different levels. The whole school, class, group, and individual service. I conducted whole school activities that include morning gate duty, where I was observing the late coming of children, the tidiness, and inappropriate signs in learning, and as well as any form of the visible abuse. I conducted toilet supervision to check learners who bunked classes and reintegrated them to classes. I was also conducting lunch supervision to observe bullying activities during break time, conducting class activities whereby I focused on learning in the specific classes. For example, where I was raising different awarenesses like suicide, bullying, drug abuse, teenage pregnancy, children's rights, and child protection. And I've got a success story there when we were dealing with the child abuse the cases and the drug abuse. One of my learners who have learning difficulties, some of the members of the community take advantages and then want to introduce a drug to the learner. But because of, I was always saying to them, don't inhale anything that is not necessary to your body. And then remember those words and deny to be trapped. And he do a mapping in my class, and then he drew that incident and shared the feelings and then bring that to me and to the principal. That was a great successful story to me. And I continue again with the group activities that are engaged with a small group of learners. For example, the body beat, the group of pregnant learners,
homework supervision, and Vuchilo. We also had maths club for learners who have a challenge in maths, where we were using the different resources like cards or straws to help them. I introduced children's cognitive story mapping program to learners. The learners were able to express their feelings through drawings, and that resulted to some learners to disclose child protection cases. Then we managed to refer those cases and continue working with different stakeholders in addressing those child protection cases. I continue conducted individual services to one learner at the time. For example, supporting pregnant learners by facilitating the family conference to help the learner disclose the pregnancy to family, ensuring that the learner attend antenatal care at clinic or any health care, engage with educators for further support to support the learner, encourage learner to return to school after delivery. With all my services, I managed to advance my communication skills by engaging with learners, parents, stakeholders, and the colleagues. Working with children in school helped me to be patient and be calm in challenging situations. And I would like to thank Health and Welfare HWSETA and NACCW for the opportunity. Investing in childcare is investing in our future. Nelson Mandela says these words in valuing children. I quote, "Our children are our greatest treasure." In my conclusion, let us all work together to provide our children with the care and make difference in their lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thandi, for your presentation and the excellent experience that you gained through this internship program supported by HWSETA. And I would like to indicate to you that, you know, these children that you have worked with, you actually have contributed a lot to the upcoming generations of those families, because if these children stay in school and they are successful, it means their children and the children of their children are going to live to be in a much better future and a better situation. And they may also, if be able to break that chain of poverty that we usually experience. So thank you so much. I will now call upon Sam Motaung. Briefly, just to indicate that Sam Motaung is a professional trained child and youth care worker, and he works as a child and youth care worker in Ekusasale 2 youth project. He is indicating that he creates and uses the environment to allow a child to learn and develop. Above and beyond that, what he does with children, he understands that he's doing it with children and not for the children. And this also teaches them independence, allow errors as learning opportunity. He enjoys working in the moment, not waiting till he has resources, but can make use of available resources to help the young people. He indicates that he believes that he is a creative person, and he enjoys working with children. But Sam, I'm going to allow you an opportunity now just to share what you do at Ekusasale 2 as a child and youth care worker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Donald. My name is Samuel Motaung. As they said, I am a child and youth care worker at Ekusasale 2 Youth Project under the program HWSETA as an intern. How I got to know about this internship is that I saw the post that was advertised by the NPO, and the NPO advertised this post in September, and I started to be part of this program from October till now. Ikusasa project, it's an NPO that is based in Freedom Park, and the focus of the NPO is helping children and families and the broader community to break the cycle of poverty by empowering the people of all ages to dream, aspire, and to achieve their dreams. And this is all achieved through Safe Park and the community engagement. The NPO itself has many programs to address most of the developmental areas of the young person and the families. But most importantly, I would like us to focus on Safe Park program. What is Safe Park? A safe park can be regarded as a place of safety. It is a place where a young person comes to and be able to be themselves. As a young person growing up in a community where it is faced with poverty, where you are faced with a high rate of substance abuse, high rate of alcohol, high rate of dropouts, where you are faced with the high risk of teenage pregnancies, where the HIV rate is so high, where you are faced with a community where there is no programs to allow a young person to be able to access information. Safe Park also gives us an opportunity for a child who are orphaned, vulnerable, and neglected, or children who has their rights being violated. This gives the opportunity for the children to be seen, helped, and taken care of. Things that we have picked up from the Safe Parks are the young person that comes from a very poor background where the home there is no food, where a young person is faced to take responsibility to take care of their siblings, whether it's due to them being orphaned or maybe the parents have other errands to take care and they don't have time to be present in the children. The children are not given proper care in terms of support structures. So in Safe Park, we have different types of programs that we do at the Safe Parks. We have your daily meals, which kids come and get meals daily, 3 times a day. We also have your homework supervisions where children are able to be assisted with the homeworks, with their researchers, and this also provides an opportunity to identify the children with learning difficulties, and this is where now we are able to engage and also implement proper help for them. There's life skills programs. These are the sessions that teaches young people about sexual reproductive health education, your hygiene, HIV prevention, and finding themselves. Also, because now we have a lot of young people that are raising themselves, the youth-headed households, there's a lot that we need to do. So we also teach them on the menstruation cycles and teen parenting sessions. There's also sports and recreational activities that we do. As much as Safe Park allows a child to be a child and have fun in many ways as possible, the Safe Park is an intervention. It's designed for a young person to be able to build a relationship with peers and us as youth care workers. What I do as a child and youth care worker on a daily basis is that I conduct home visits. We visit the families of the children we are taking care of to observe, to get information of the young person we are taking care of in terms of the household issues and the background where the child comes from. We do clinic visit. I accompany children to collect the medication or honor the appointments, and also advocate for children who maybe are now misplaced with the new families to be able to be transferred to new medical centers and receive medical attention. I also do school visit in order to be able to monitor the academic performances of the young person. I also do case conferences with the children and their families. This enables me to be able to mediate or help the family also in problem solving. This is also my duty to plan and conduct and implement the individual developmental plan of the young person that I'm taking care of. The community engagements that the NPO does with our communities, we are also involved in our door-to-door campaigns, where we move around our communities based on the event that is set. For instance, if it is World AIDS Day, we also do door-to-door campaigns. We do wellness drives. We also do awareness campaigns. We also engage with different stakeholders that is around our communities in terms of your doctors, your clinics, and peer educators that come through and also teach our young people about HIV and also the preventative methods. I am so grateful that NECCW has given us the opportunity to be able to practice once again as a child and youth care worker. With this program, we are able to bridge the gap of young people throwing their lives away and throwing their hopes away, and being able to install back hope and also provide proper support structures to the young people. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sam. Sure, it's quite an experience that you have an opportunity to gain from this organization, HWSETA, and we can only be grateful to HWSETA for availing the opportunity to the child and youth care sector. And as an association, we saw it fit that we should tap into that opportunity, into that resource, so that we continue moving our profession forward in that way. So thank you very much, and continue doing the great job there. I will now call upon Samukelo Dladla. And Samukelo Dladla, just a little bit about him is that he is from Pietermaritzburg, and he's saying that he's passionate about child and youth care work, and he is also a proud DUT graduate with a heart for children and drive for change. He empowers young people through his work at iCare, Excelsior Place of Safety, currently he is an intern for the NECCW Youth Forum. Samukelo, the platform is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Donald. It is a great honor to be introduced and your bio period by your director. Thank you very much. I think this year is a great year for me. So as Mr. Donald said, my name is Sabelo Samukelo Dladla. I am one of the interns who is benefiting from NECCW and HWSETA internship program. I started working as an intern in March 2025. I am currently working as a National Youth Forum Coordinator in NECCW Gauteng office. My role as an intern is to empower vulnerable youth at risk by providing opportunities for the youth in child and youth care centers, community-based projects, schools, and I also advocate for their need, play an effective role in supporting them to make decisions at various levels. I provide support to 9 NECCW Youth Forum provinces by creating opportunities to the youth with a platform to interact with one another at a local leadership structures. I also promote youth participation, facilitate awareness campaign, sessions, workshop, engage with different stakeholders to resource the youth coordination training. Ensure smooth communication with all these 9 provinces and NECCW Youth Forum, organize provincial and national meeting, as well as support local meeting. It was a great It was great to be involved in a powerful initiative for a child who were mapping their everyday life, a meaningful process that deepened my understanding of their reality life, how their daily life is about, how it shaped their landscape, fortune of what they say, and how their community shaped them. And lucky, 2 of those pictures that were took at Hammarskraal made it to the national level. So we are currently waiting for the results, hoping they will be the winners of the national mapping competition. I also had a great chance to be in a meeting with Harambe, to help the youth to, sorry, I also had a privilege to be in a meeting including Harambe, which assisted the youth alumni member with job opportunities. On our database, we have about 78 youth alumni that graduated from tertiary institutions. I had a chance to host a workshop on climate change where we were looking on the climate of South Africa, how the youth can be involved in maintaining the carbon footprint, how youth can be involved in cleaning their community, how they can teach their old people about the climate change and make sure that we keep our climate as it is, as much as it's being damaged now. And we also had a powerful workshop on youth empowerment. That workshop was based on how the youth can create opportunities for themselves. I'm not saying the government is failing the youth, but to empower the youth, it will help the youth to be on their own space, not just to wait for the government. And we also managed to host a workshop which was based on disaster management and leadership. This opportunity that I was given by NACCW and HWSETA, it was a great privilege to me because I was able to work with youth from different culture and different social, economic background. It also helped me to strengthen my skills, knowledge in planning, facilitating, advocating, and supporting resilience in youth. As a child and youth care worker, I'm committed to work with children, not ahead or behind them, but beside them to make sure that they achieve everything they want or they wish about their dreams. This opportunity meant so much to me. I was fortunate enough to secure my internship as soon as I completed my degree last year, as I was lucky not to contribute to the high unemployment rate in our country. Thank you very much to NACCW and HWSETA for trusting me. The period of uncertainty before finding work was incredibly stressful. I felt like all these years that I spent when I was studying goes to waste, or how my community or the family will look at me, because we know like lots of people after you finish your qualification, they look at you like you thought you were better from those who did not go to the university. So this opportunity was a great opportunity to me. Getting employed brought such a relief and joy to me. It not only afflicted the unemployment, but it also gave me a vulnerable experience in the field of child and youth care worker as a worker, not as a student. Thank you to NACCW again for trusting me to provide support to the youth of South Africa. Thank you to HWSETA for transforming graduates with no experience to a successful professional. To my fellow intern and other fellow child and youth care worker, we are not just caregivers, we are dream definers, hope builders, and fire starters. Let's keep working with young people until they believe in their own dreams. Without us, there is no better future for children and child and youth care work in South Africa. Thank you again to Mr. Donald, and I was very grateful for this session.
Thank you very much, Sabelo, and for that piece of work that you are doing. You know, we don't get to hear much about the youth forum activities that are done in the different provinces, and it's very good to hear it coming from somebody who is an intern, who is passionate about what he is doing. And we are grateful for those young people for having you on their side. It's very good work that you are doing, and continue doing that. And I am now going to call on Gugu Numalo to share some of the work that she is doing in ECBND in the program that she is involved with. Gugu Numalo is a dedicated child and youth care professional with a national diploma in child and youth development, with a passion for creative expression through DIY projects and arts. Gugu brings a unique blend of creativity and expertise to supporting the growth and development of young people. Committed to nurturing young minds, Gugu strives to create innovative and engaging experiences that foster social, emotional, and cognitive growth Through a combination of professional expertise and creative enthusiasm, Google aims to make a positive impact in the lives of children and youth, empowering them to reach their full potential. Google is involved in Isibindi Ezikoleni in KZN, and she is going to be sharing with us what her role includes. Google, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. I'm filled with gratitude and joy as I join you in today. I would like to thank all the speakers that we've had thus far. The information that has been shared the past 2 days and us being on the third day has been really insightful, especially for people who are in this field. My name is Gugu Nxumalo and I'm from KwaZulu-Natal. I'm from a small town called Newcastle. And growing up in my grandmother's house, which was always open for people in need, it actually gave me an opportunity to value caring for people and actually having responsibility towards others. I was the first child and the first grandchild, so that automatically made me the caregiver towards my younger siblings and my cousins. I was the annoying cousin who always wanted to do schoolwork during weekends. Today, I would like to share with you my journey as a child in need care worker. It began when I attended a church session, and that day they asked church members to share what they do and where they do it. The late Miss Shezi, she was a child in need care worker at Newcastle School of Industries. She shared the services that they provide for young people, and that sparked an interest for me, and I decided that it will be the path that I choose to pursue. And when I applied at DUT, I was actually very late for my interview as I was getting lost. Newcastle to Durban was 4 hours away, and I had hoped that I make it. And the way that the lecturers handled my case made me realize that I was in the right place because they showed me care right in the beginning. Throughout my studies, I was placed in various placements, and that shaped my understanding of the field. And then after graduating in 2018, I worked with NACCW. They gave me my first opportunity, where I worked as a community-based child and youth care worker in Cape Town for the program Isibindi Impilo, where we're supporting the Department of Health with the 1990 goal for HIV and AIDS in South Africa. Unfortunately, Cape Town was too far away from me as I had family responsibilities that needed me to be closer to home, and I had to return. When I returned to KwaZulu-Natal, opportunities were not there, and that's when I learned of the HWSETA internship program for Isibindi Ezikoleni. I was a school-based child and youth care worker in one of the rural areas of Pietermaritzburg. It was called Etogozani. And in that setting, I was exposed to the world of possibilities, from engaging with young people in the school, to meeting parents during parents' meeting, to meeting stakeholders. It actually gave me an opportunity to strive in the field that I was trained in. And we're really grateful for HWSETA, because if it wasn't for that opportunity, I wouldn't be a mentor today. So the skills that I gained during the internship actually led me to being a mentor, and now I'm mentoring other HWSETA candidates under the same internship that I had, and I'm honored to be the provincial coordinator of KwaZulu-Natal today through the internship of HWSETA and the guidance of Notobeko Mlambo, who was our speaker yesterday, and the guidance of Kuhlentintili and Dr. Thumbadoo. There is a saying by Rita Pearson: every child deserves a champion, an adult who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. And I believe that us as child and youth care workers are those champions. I know that sometimes we meet a lot of challenges and we feel like giving up. We feel that we are not paid enough. We feel that the working environment is not good enough, but I believe that we can soldier on for these learners. I'd like to commend the NACCW for providing a sense of belonging for all child and youth care workers and other social service professionals. And with the work that they've done in the 5 decades, we believe that they still have more decades to come, and we're still going to have more child and youth care workers who will realize the importance of the work that we do. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Gugu, for that excellent input and the work that you are doing with the team in KZN. And I want to say that the 4 speakers we have listened to are representing other interns who are doing some very good work, serving our children, providing good services to the children of our country who needs that most. And I do realize that it's 12 o'clock now, so we are actually out of time. I am not going to waste more time, but just go straight to requesting a response and as well as an input from Department of Basic Education through Mr. Likho Bottoman. Mr. Bottoman is a qualified occupational therapist who has been working for the Department of Basic Education since 2008, having previously worked in the Health Promotion Directorate responsible for the Integrated School Health Program in the old Department of Education. He also became the national focal point on care and support for teaching and learning and facilitating school community engagement for the advancement of learner support and learner well-being programs. Likho is now the Director for Social Cohesion and Equity in Education, leading the Basic Education Transformational Agenda on Social Cohesion, Nation Building, Gender Empowerment, and Gender Equity, including climate change prevention and management programs. He holds an education master's degree in inclusive education, which he obtained cum laude, and is a PhD candidate in educational psychology. Mr. Bottoman, I must say that personally, I'm very grateful that you could make the time to join us. I know you are a very, very busy person. And firstly, when you said yes to our invite, it's not what I was expecting. I was expecting that you'll say, no, Donald, I'm very busy. Can I send somebody to represent me? But you took it upon yourselves to be here to connect with the child and youth care sector today. You are welcome, and the platform is yours. Mr. Bottoman.
Thank you so much, Donald. Good afternoon, colleagues. I know that you've run out of time. Donald, can I just confirm with you if you are still able to see my slides?
Yes, I'm able to see your slide and deliver everything that you prepared to deliver to us.
Okay, and it is on slide mode, right?
Yes, it is in slide mode. Let me see. Yeah, it is in slide mode, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Donald. Unfortunately, I've got a law enforcement matter that I was supposed to have started with at 12, but I've just indicated that they must just give me a little bit more time because this is also equally important. So good afternoon to you as the program director, and I really want to express my appreciation to the NACCW for thinking about us as the Department of Basic Education to participate in this very important webinar. As you know, Donald, we have a very strong and a very long relationship with the NACCW. In fact, the NACCW has affected the way that the sector thinks about child and youth care work and just the care and support component of work broadly. There have been quite a lot of innovations that we've done together with the NACCW. That includes even the implementation of Isibindi Ezikoleni program, which was the the customization of the psychosocial support program for schools. As you know, colleagues, even though we are coexisting in society, but there are particular dynamics and there are particular terrain issues when it comes to schools and when it comes to children who are in school. I'll cite an example. Many of people who work with us in the child and youth care space would always remind us about what the legislation says in as far as consent for children when it comes to consenting for sexual and reproductive health and rights services. As we all know, our legislation is looking at 12 years of age for consenting. But when it comes to the basic education sector, the terrain then changes, because the terrain then says, yes, even though the law is saying that the child may consent to services at the age of 12, but we still do require the consent of the parent of the child because of other agreements that we have as a sector. So that's why I say that you may want to implement something that you understand, that you know in child and youth care work is clean and it's implementable. But when you land it in the basic education sector, it then has to take a different form and shape and size because of the terrain that the basic education sector provides. And there are many, many other examples then that I could cite as to why then it was important for us to, walk this journey with the NACCW. You will also recall that during the COVID-19 lockdown, that is when we also then introduced the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. And the NACCW became almost like a thinking partner and a learning partner in the program for us to think about what it means, because initially when the program was brought to us, it was simply just meant to look at education assistants and general school assistants. But through our engagement with the NACCW, we managed to advocate, even in the small scale, for the inclusion of child and youth care workers in that process. And as a result, I think throughout the thinking, even now as we're anticipating the new intake of young people that are going to be volunteering in our schools as education assistants and general school assistants, there is thinking about care and support in that. They may not be called child and youth care workers because of regulatory issues and the fact that they can't be called child and youth care workers without the necessary qualifications, as the colleagues have been presenting earlier, because you've got to have that qualification in order to be called that. And so they call them something different, but really it is work that was initiated by the NACCW for the Department of Basic Education to think deliberately and intentionally about including the care and support and the child and youth care work element in the thinking when we're talking about the volunteer program for the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. So there are lots of examples that we can cite where really the NACCW has managed to influence policy and to also influence practice in basic education. And we really want to commend the NACCW, not only for the exciting and creative and innovative ideas that they bring to the department, but also for being a real learning partner and a real collaborator in the space, because at no point ever were we ever asked, for example, for money as the DBE, because the NACCW has got a shared interest and a shared mandate with the Department of Basic Education in carrying out this work. And so it has never been a business transaction in the first place, but more a relationship that says they would firstly keep the Department of Basic Education accountable about the lives of children and the vulnerabilities of children in schools, but also not just keep us accountable, also supporting us and giving us the technical support and technical assistance and technical expertise that we need in order for us to do that. And we want to say, colleagues, that we are really, really appreciative of the journey that we've worked together, and we're looking forward to a future that is brighter. And we're very appreciative that even the HWSETA has come on board to really assist us in this space. And we are really, really grateful, and we look forward to greater achievement of greater milestones that we can reach together in this collaboration. coming back to these 3 slides that I wanted to share with you, just based on the presentations that have been delivered today, you can clearly see that all the different kinds of interventions are recognizing the fact that children come to schools with intersecting vulnerabilities, which impact on education outcomes. And those vulnerabilities are often intertwined. There is no way anymore that we can say as a children's sector that we're only dealing with hunger, or we're only dealing with gender stereotypes, or we're only dealing with HIV and AIDS, or we're only dealing with grief and trauma, because a lot of these vulnerabilities are intersecting. And so the child and youth care work programs that happen in our schools are recognizing the intersectionality of these vulnerabilities of children, which often lead to low enrollment, to high dropout rate and poor performance, which is why sometimes I also see that they don't only end at just providing access to sexual and reproductive health services, but they also then provide support, for example, to children with homework support. They even do home visits, particularly to deal with the issue of children who are staying absent out of school, because they understand the impact that would have on the performance of children. And so you would recall, colleagues, that even when we announced the matric results in January of 2025 for the matrics of 2024, we had a special award that was looking at children who have achieved very, very high results under very adverse circumstances, because we are recognizing the fact that children are coming from different backgrounds and they're coming to school with different vulnerabilities. So when they achieve, when we give, whether it's 80% that we achieve or 86%, there needs to be an understanding that that 80% or 60% or 86% comes at the backdrop of all of these intersecting vulnerabilities. The second thing that I wanted to say is that, you know, colleagues have been presenting today, and I wanted colleagues to understand that there is a framework of operation that the Department of Basic Education is using to deliver care and support programs or care and support interventions to children. Even the child and youth care work component needs to recognize that this is the framework that frames the work that they do in our schools, where the child is placed at the center, and all of us in this a virtual room and other people that work with us are organized around the child to ensure that we provide a much more child-centered approach, a comprehensive, coordinated, multi-sectoral response to addressing the barriers to learners for children, so that they are able to realize their right to education. And so this means then that we can no longer work in silos. We can no longer want to advocate for a particular brand over others, for as long as it helps us to strengthen systems, for as long as it strengthens our partnerships, for as long as it helps us to provide an integrated package of care and support, and for as long as it exists within a legal and policy mandate. For us, it passes as a care and support for teaching and learning intervention. And so I think it's going to be very important for all of us, even when we receive funding from different funding work streams, for them to understand that we can no longer have an isolated journey when we provide care and support services to children. We've got to understand that we form part of an ecosystem, and we need to be prepared to negotiate some of the milestones and targets and indicators that we've set for ourselves for reporting against those funding agreements, for reporting against those resource mobilization mechanisms that would have found, because they need to understand that, unfortunately, these days, when you're working in the education sector, you've got to understand that you are cutting a slice from this big cake, but that slice is connected to a bigger ecosystem of education. And the last thing that I wanted to say was that When it comes to providing child and youth care work or care and support interventions to vulnerable children in basic education, yes, there are very obvious elements when you're looking at the pillars of CSTL. For example, a rights-based, socially cohesive and inclusive school at 12 o'clock of this structure that I'm showing you. Maybe at 2 o'clock, you're looking at psychological support. Maybe at 4 o'clock and the 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, you're looking at curricular and co-curricular issues. Maybe at 6, 7, 9, and 11 o'clock, you are looking at those issues that are very, very natural for us in child and youth care work. But we also need to understand that we do have a mandate for us to also look at the hard stuff in education. For example, in the infrastructure, water and sanitation area, yes, we come from a history that views these issues as just infrastructure issues, bricks and cement and water only. But now we've got to infuse a kind of discourse within this work so that when they build our schools, when they give us these structures and they hand over these structures to our schools, is the physical space in our schools that provides us an opportunity for us to drive child and youth care work in our schools. That means your child and youth care centers or spaces of engagement in our schools need to be there. I've seen many augmentations and many modifications in many schools where the NHWSETA is operating, where they've advocated for this. You actually have a space where child and youth care workers are working, though not ideal, but at least there's a space. So what that means is that when structures are being built now in schools, we've got to think about child and youth care work. We've got to think about care and support services for children. There must be sick bays. There must be spaces where food can be served for children. There must be spaces where, for example, another presenter here was talking about safe hubs or safe parks. So we need to be able to design these safe hubs that they are actually inside the school so that we don't create walk-in centers that exist outside of schools. And I know that this is a dream, this is a long-term vision, but I think if we continue to work this way, that advocacy is going to be easy for us. And at 6 o'clock, if you look at the curriculum support, at the moment, the curriculum that is designed and that is delivered in our schools is just designed for academic purposes. And so the work that we do in child and youth care work needs to influence the kind of curriculum and the manner in which curriculum is delivered in schools so that it recognizes that children are coming with care and support needs that sometimes may be addressed through intricate curricular and pedagogical systems and mechanisms in our schools in a way that then helps us to prevent rather than respond to care and support needs of children. And I think that the child and youth care work agenda in this country has got a long way to go to ensure that we realize the mission and the principles and the fundamentals of care and support. And I think that what we'll need to do, which would help us with advocacy and mobilization, is for every child and youth care worker to understand this framework of operation of care and support in basic education, so that as they deliver, they always foreground this framework as their work. Yes, it's all well and good that they do nutrition, they do home visits, they do homework support, they do access to SRH services, they do school safety campaigns, all of those things. But what is this ecosystem? What is the framework on which all of these beautiful interventions is hinging on? And it is this framework. And for as long as we don't articulate it in the work that we do in child and youth care work, we will always be seen as existing outside of that ecosystem, which is why every time when the NHWSETA and the HWSETA when they approach the DPE about this work, we always ask them, so where is the fit in the framework? What do you call your people and what do we call them in the framework? And so that kind of connection would always need to be clarified so that we are seen to be reinforcing the system rather than coming up with new things. And between ourselves and the people who work on the program, we understand this fundamental principle. But I think we need to be able to now teach it to our child and youth care workers so that when they get on the ground, they're able to hold that strategic articulation and understanding of the work that they do, the slice that they're taking from the bigger ecosystem of care and support for teaching and learning. So thank you very much for the inspiring work that you do. And I really look forward to working with you together with my colleagues inside the DPE to ensure that we take forward child and youth care work to respond to the needs of children, especially now that we see that the vulnerabilities of children are getting more heightened, and they bring those from communities and households into schools, and we actually are getting overwhelmed. And child and youth care work is probably going to be the answer to respond quicker and to respond much more creatively to these needs, these vulnerability needs of children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Likho. I always like it when you speak because you speak with so much passion for the children and the responsibilities that you carry in the Department of Basic Education. So I am grateful that you could make the time to join us, and we are thankful for the continued partnership with NACCW and Department of Basic Education. You know, NACCW is not just an organization, and I want to just provide that clarity to the sector that it is an association for child and youth care workers. All the association does is to make sure that as child and youth care workers, we are seen, we are heard, we are listened to, and we create opportunities for dialogues with the different stakeholders, and also ensuring that we influence those people who have got decision-making power so that we are acknowledged and accepted. So we are very grateful for the time that you have spent with us, Likho. And also thank you very much for the continued support together with your colleagues. And I know that you've got a very, very committed team that you are working with, and we feel that commitment every time we engage with them. And as due to time, I'm not going to be allowing time for questions and answers because we have gone beyond time. But I just want to make a few points before we close. That this is the International Child and Youth Care Week that we are celebrating, and it will be continuing until the 11th of this month. And the entire month in the sector, we dedicate it to the celebration of child and youth care workers. And there will be other activities or events that are held throughout the month up until the end of this month. So we are thankful to the stakeholders who have partnered with NACCW to deliver services to children in our country. We continue to be faced by various challenges as a profession, but we call upon all stakeholders and individuals to confront and collectively look for answers to problems that confront us. Thank you to all of our guest speakers for today. Dr. Thumbadoo, thank you very much. Ms. Brass, we are very grateful for your support from HWSETA. Ms. Tandi Masanabo, Mr. Sam Mutaung, Mr. Sabelo Dladla, Ms. Gugunumalo, and lastly, Mr. Likho Bottoman, in the order that you have spoken. Thank you so much for your presence and your continued support and the work that you are doing in your respective organizations. South Africa continues to experience challenges and continuous experiencing concerning social ills, and we can see that growing all the time, or on a daily basis, you get to learn of something new that is getting into the space of children. And as a profession, we are needed to respond. And I think that we are doing our best with the little resources as stretched as they are. We are trying to respond to that call that comes from the children's space. The questions on the chat box are all noted. No question or comment is not valued. We are valuing all of them. We will collate all the different questions and comments, but mainly questions, and we will ensure that those questions go to the respective sectors so that they are able to respond to them. And we also call upon provincial celebration events to share with the association challenges that you are going to be receiving from the sector, so that as we collate, we include them in the list that we are going to be putting together for the different stakeholders. And let's use this week and this month to create focus to the child and youth care profession. That is all we are trying to do. We are pulling everyone to look at child and youth care work, to listen to us, and to say, let's together improve in the way we are developing this profession. Let's together grow as a country, but do realize that there is a profession, a workforce that without it, our children will be in a very, very difficult position. And I'm talking of the vulnerable and at-risk children. So to all of you, thank you very much. We appreciate the time that we have spent with you to get together in these 3 days, and continue with the celebratory events throughout the week and throughout the month. And where you need support of the association, please do call upon us. We will ensure that we make ourselves available to provide support, as we have indicated, to all the structures in the different provinces. Thank you so much. And this will be the end of today, and happy International Child and Youth Care Workers Week. Thank you.